Welcome into Toronto, Ontario as we begin Week 19 here in USL League One. Toronto FC2 looking to bounce back after their loss at home for the first time this season against the Richmond Kickers last week. Today hosting forward Madison FC right here on ESPN+. I'm Chris McCovic bringing you the action again from BMO Training Ground here in Toronto. And both these clubs really, with 3 points today for either of them, can put pressure on the Chattanooga Red Wolves for that fourth and final playoff spot here as it stands in the current League One table. Third matchup this season between the two clubs. We started between these two back in May when it was forward Madison putting 3 in against this TFC2 defense, winning 3-1 at the friendly confines of Brees Stevens Field. As you can see, Schaffelberg with a good strike on a piece of brilliance down the right side of the box, but it was Carter Manley and the rest of the wingers in this forward Madison formation that got it done in the second half. Plenty of chances between the two squads as they combined for 21 corner kicks and 30 shots in this offensive matchup. The second matchup this season, we saw things slow down a bit more as it was a 1-1 draw between the two clubs. Toronto getting more of the edge early on as it was Perusa putting that strike past Silvestri in the 45th minute. Madison wouldn't go quietly though as they were able to find the equalizer via Tenorio, getting a little help of a rebound in his direction in the middle of the box. But for both these clubs, again, the story may be offsides so far this season. Toronto getting 15 offsides calls on forward Madison. That's been the difference in these games overall, able to slow down the wingers with that tactic, and we'll see if they can continue that here today. Both clubs looking for 3 points to get that fourth and final playoff spot here in League One. Starting 11s coming up next right here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Toronto. Forward Madison FC and Toronto FC2 meeting up here in Week 19 of USL League One as we get set to look at our starting 11s for both sides ahead of this matchup. For the home side, Toronto FC2 with the MLS All-Star break in action. You'll see a few names out there for this TFC2 side, including Frazier, Zavaleta, Chapman, and Morgan as some of the better-known names for this TFC2 side all season, making their way to the bench. So look for really an ignited TFC2 side come the second half. Should be a lot of fun throughout these 90 minutes. On the other side for forward Madison, same starting 11 we saw a week ago against OCB, I should say about 4 days ago against OCB, as Dane St. Clair gets his third straight start out there for the Flamingos, and the squad will look to maybe get some more in the back of the net compared to just the one against OCB last time out at Breese Stevens Field. Here's the standings as we enter this match today, and as I was alluding to, a three-way tie on points at least for fifth at this point of the season. 25 points at the Chattanooga Red Wolves, 27 Lansing Ignite. They actually meet tonight on ESPN Plus at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And, of course, forward Madison right there at 22 points. With a win today, they would be tied for fourth with Chattanooga. Here's TFC2 in their classic red uniforms, as today will once again be Akin Ola at the top, the Brampton, Ontario 19-year-old forward, getting his second straight start for TFC2. And as I mentioned, Madison, same starting 11 as last time. Oliver White at the top of the formation. He's been so strong, a great addition for forward Madison. And of course, for those tuned into League One all season, he had that brilliant diving header of a goal in his debut against Tormenta on the road. That was the first home loss of the season, I should say, for Tormenta. As we're underway here from BMO Training Grounds, beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us for the beginning of Week 19 here in USL League One. Again, I'm Chris McCovic bringing the action here on ESPN+. Third matchup between Madison and Toronto this season, as they're here at BMO Training Ground for the second time overall here in 2019. Toronto this season at home 4-1-3. Of course, that first home loss coming at the hands of the Richmond Kickers last week, 2-1. Through ball intercepted there by Almsberg, the Loon Loney, as he sends it over to his fellow teammate on both squads, Carter Manley, and Madison will take it out of the back. Madison, 2 clean sheets this season on the road, not too stellar, as they're 2-5-2. 2 road victories, though, in League One is huge for those especially in the flock. They don't know how important these road victories are this season, especially in a league that, at least until Week 18, it was really tough to win on the road. And then we saw just one home team win, and that was forward Madison against OCB last week, as it was just road teams feeling confident, getting results, and we saw that happen, especially with North Texas and Toronto both going down for the first time here at home in 2019. Toronto clearly dictating things early on as they build from the back. The interesting thing will be to see how well does this organizational pyramid fit all these players if they're able to be in tune with each other from the get-go, despite maybe some new faces out there compared to the likes of maybe Bunk Anderson, Perusa, usually being out there in the squad for the starting group, at least, of TFC2. Diaz takes it from the back, one of a few players on the field today in danger of yellow card accumulation suspensions. Ovalle, the holding midfielder for Toronto, who's been spectacular, not so much in the stats, but all over the field for TFC2 this season, unavailable today due to that one-game suspension after he received his 5th yellow card in the match against Richmond. St. Clair moves up the ball to Tobin, still leading League One in clearances from the back, as it is Toronto with the interception. Leonard unable to make the challenge down the right flank as Petrasso is tripped up, ball out of play, and it will be a goal kick for Dane St. Clair, the former University of Maryland product. St. Clair making now his 4th start of 2019, and talking with Daryl Shore this week, he mentioned St. Clair being more involved with the squad these last few games as really having to do with that minimum of games played to be eligible for the playoffs down the line, which is something interesting to think about, the different variables these coaches have to manage when they are selecting their starting 11 and even their 18 for a particular match. And that minimum is 5 games if you are a lone player for any of these squads in League One to be eligible for the playoffs. Knocked forward, Paulo Jr. went for the strike, or actually the pass over the Don Smart, the first offsides call of the match. And that's been the story for anyone that's watched a TFC2 home match this season. Really, they have been dominant from the offsides call, and for back lines with great chemistry, that's certainly a great feat to talk about for your squad. Madison's had their issues with the offsides calls against Toronto, so we'll see if they're able to taper that down a bit as we enter today's match. Zavaleta from the back, one of a few of the Toronto FC players joining the starting 11 today for TFC2. Zavaleta out of Westfield, Indiana, the former Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year at Indiana. Frazier knocks it back. Here's Dorsey moving to that right back spot, trying to get more experience at that position for the organization. 4 assists this season, up there among the leaders in League One, as we'll talk about at halftime. Dorsey through ball down the lane to Chapman. Cycling back, pressure from Diaz. Here comes pressure from Nunez as well. Stepping up Frazier, intercepted by Banks, but caught up in the tackle of Frazier. He'll play it the other way, White on the chase, but 2 red bodies there in the way as Zavaleta and Romeo come to settle it back. Bunk Anderson on the bench today. He's been really the name to know of that back line. Romeo has seen time and has been strong at times this season with a goal in his 3 previous starts, but that's just it. 3 starts for TFC2 this season, as he and Zavaleta will look to combine today, maybe get the clean sheet for Toronto at home. Toronto 5 clean sheets here in League One, and forward Madison with just 2. Fewest clean sheets of any club here in League One, as Toronto FC2 quickly the other way. Petrasso picks up his head. Chapman flicks it on. Strike by Serbo, but does not get all of it, as it's taken back by Paulo Jr. Shore and Madison were unsure if Paulo Jr. would be playing in today's match due to some muscle tightness that he felt earlier in the last few days, but able to make the starting 11 again this week, as Tobin steps up here. Fort Collins, Colorado native, playing it down the left flank. Here's Christian Diaz looking ahead, sending it into Oliver White, the Memphis loanee, but loses it there. Maybe a back heel attempt to Nunez. It's cleared out of play. Throw-in for Madison, not backing down early on. Smart takes in the throw-in as we check out the replay, as Serbo was unable to get a real shot off here, but a great play by Chapman off the foot of Leonard, and then finally cleared by Paulo Jr. for Madison. Sent through, Romeo flicks it up into the air, and it's headed back the other way to Toronto FC2. Last road match, I should say, in quite a while for Madison, as we'll have 5 of their next 6 at home at Breese Stevens Field. Their 1 road match coming up will be at Greenville Triumph. Both those clubs only meeting once so far this season. A 0-0 draw in the snow back in early this season. Certainly in, well, 1 day from August, we're not thinking about snow too much. At least we shouldn't be, hopefully. As Nunez through ball, Smart takes it in, knocks on to White, driving into the box. Zavaleta, good play on the ball with his right foot, shoves it out of play. It's a throw-in for Madison, as we're getting a bit more possession as we move deeper into the first 8 minutes of this match. Diaz on the ball, he'll take the throw-in. Flicked up, Nunez the header, White gets the touch by Petrasso. First corner kick of the match going the way of Madison, as Smart will take it. Paulo Jr. coming up for the short option. Don Smart looking to line this ball into the box. 3 assists this season. He does just that, but into the top netting. Bit off target, and it'll be kicked away by Filion, making his 4th start this season on loan from FC Zurich, the Ottawa native. Chapman. Lays it off and back to Zavaleta. Toronto pretty strong in the midweek games this season. They're 2-0-2 in Wednesday matchups, 2-0 included in there at home. As Diaz will take it back and shoves it down the field to Nunez. Through ball attempted, again a deflection by Zavaleta. Good start to the game for him, as the offsides flag is up once again, second time in the first 9 minutes of this match. Zavaleta, 5-year career with Toronto FC in MLS, 98 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist over that stretch. Frazier taking it over. The 21-year-old ahead to Chapman. Morgan stepping up. Petrasso will have to keep this in play. Indeed he does, just in front of the end line. Back to the top. Morgan once again. The Toronto native sending it wide left. Faria lining in this one, but well high and too far out of play. St. Clair goal kick coming. You saw Morgan on the ball quite a bit there, a seasoned veteran here in the Toronto FC system, 123 appearances for Toronto FC in Major League Soccer. As St. Clair will have to play it wide due to the pressure at the top. Aquinola at the top of the formation again for Toronto FC2. Second start this season and second consecutive start. As Manley breaks free here down the center of the pitch. On to White, into the box, a strike, and saved in the end by Filione. Cleared by Morgan down the field. Filione standing tall there with the left side of his body. Deflection off the Banks attempt at a cross. It's a corner kick again for Madison, their second. Another look here. Carter Manley, you saw in the first matchup this season, he did exactly this. Smart brought the ball up the right flank, and he turned his run more centrally into the box. And that's one ability he certainly has, and he helped out White there to get that strike, but it is saved by Filione. 11th minute of action, second corner kick being taken by Smart. Out to Manley, outside the box. He'll flick it in towards the left post, headed down, but wide in the end, as it was headed on by Leonard. Madison coming early and often to start this match as we take a look at that opportunity for the Flamingos. Leonard getting a good look at it, but just not the accuracy inside that post, as Filione would have been in the area. Tobin handles it well on to Almsberg, who will cycle it back all the way to St. Clair. Almsberg over to Manley, 4-year player at Duke in college. Paulo Jr. battling with Morgan. Out of play, it's going to be a goal kick as the two former MLS players going at it. Chapman, little ball over the top down the right flank. Tobin all over it, volleying it the other way, but Toronto right back on the attack, but Tobin another good play. Keeping it ahead, Nunez to White, trying to deal with a few red jerseys in there, back to Nunez. Paulo Jr. trailing here. Nunez saw him, but was caught up in the traffic. Flicks it on, foul called on Frazier. And it's going to be a free kick here for Madison as they continue the onslaught here, as Toronto has struggled here on the transition. Another look here as Nunez tried to fight through the pressure but shoved off the ball pretty clearly. Madison, a real opportunity, dead on with the frame of goal. Nunez flicks it into the air, but over everyone out of play, and a goal kick coming for Filione. He'll take the goal kick. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. Select ball currently with Zavaleta moving it left side to Romeo. ahead. Aquino still can't find that hold-up play he's been looking for against Leonard and these center backs. Again, giving the ball away there as Banks plays it down the right flank. Manley, wide open run on the right side corner flag. Ball sent in, but flicked away by the TFC2 defense. Manley fighting back for it, though, back to Banks. Banks centrally, Leonard up. Nunez back to Manley. And now Madison setting up the offense. Madison 5th in League One in goals scored with 22 this season. It's at 1.3 per game. Flicked in, Banks on the run to the end line. Heavy touch, stopped by Filione. Still in play, all the players stopped there. The whistle was never blown. Dorsey quick the other way, maybe something for TFC2 to pounce on, but instead Leonard steals it right back. Madison a chance here to recollect things. Leonard in his 15th start of the season, the 4-year Butler player back in college. And a good stop there to halt the Toronto attack as he halted Griffin Dorsey. Back the other way, quickly comes TFC2, sliding challenge, forces the ball straight into the arms of St. Clair and sends it out wide to Diaz. Physical battle early on in the midfield, and that's what Madison had against OCB last week. They were able to draw a penalty in the match, but unfortunately Smart missed it. 57-minute goal by Banks was able to be the difference in the match, 1-0 win. But both teams, OCB and Madison, combined for 8 yellow cards in that match, and Madison's offense really got a lot of chances overall, but it was a bit frustrating for Coach Daryl Shore and his staff. Not seeing more production in the back of the net. 5 shots on target out of those 17 overall for Madison. So far, so good. They're keeping the offense going, but still trying to penetrate the back of that net. Morgan takes it in on the left flank. Frazier down the middle of the field, but Almsberg gets there before Serbal could get a touch to it. And it's back to St. Clair as Madison tries to stretch things out from the back with this pressure from TFC2 coming and cleared away just in time by Almsberg. Nunez through the traffic of Romeo, looking for a strike, the cutback. Still looking, on to Paulo Jr., can't handle the initial touch though. Diaz loses it, and Chapman now with numbers ahead in the white jerseys for forward Madison. Toronto FC2 a chance to break. Faria down the left flank, met by Manley as he quickly got back. Serbal's pass intercepted by Banks, and here's Paulo Jr., and Madison gets away unscathed. Toronto FC2 just unable so far to build in that transition attack we know them so well for this season. Toronto a bit of a second half team though, keep in mind, as they've had a few comeback results here at BMO Training Ground. As remember back 2 weeks ago against Lansing, a 3-3 result after they were down 3-1 just after halftime. But 11 of their 29 goals this season, second in League One, have come in the final 15 minutes of play. That's 38% of their production. Smart playing it down the right flank as Almsberg trying to find an opening, but feeling the pressure of Serbal as he'll send it back centrally through his defense. Madison, certainly they could get the production. We're seeing that so far on the offensive end. 3 players they have in the top 5 of overall players in League One created chances. That's Nunez, Paulo Jr., and Don Smart. The leader in that pack, Nunez, in 3rd place with 33 created chances. Here's Diaz down the left flank. He'll play it centrally, but right off his teammate. Smart was there working that left wing, but got a bit in the way as maybe moving the ball more centrally into the midfield. 19th minute of action here on ESPN Plus. Third matchup between these two teams here in the 2019 season. I'm Chris Makoviak bringing the action on this Wednesday afternoon. First matchup this week in League One. The second matchup of the week actually coming up later tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time start, as the Chattanooga Red Wolves and Lansing Ignite battle in a 3v4 meeting as the table currently stands. But certainly the two teams in front of us right now with a win today could get sole possession of fourth place or tie Chattanooga for fourth place depending on the team. As we saw the middle of the pack in League One get ever so much closer as Zavaleta plays that centrally. Paulo Jr. tried to flick it on, but Serbo winning it back for Toronto. Three teams at 23 points, and of course Madison at 22 points. All four of those clubs I'm talking about below the playoff line currently. Chapman plays it into the box, but no one there making a run as it's scooped up by St. Clair. Zavaleta bodying away White, out of play. And the ruling is Madison ball. A poor play of the ball by Zavaleta as he seemed to have touched it, at least according to our refereeing crew today. Almsberg plays the left side. Currently Toronto tied fourth in League One points per game with 1.353. That's a tie with Greenville and Tucson. Banks, now Smart flicks it in. Banks on the run as Filion took a slip, but luckily the ball headed out of play. And I mentioned points per game because you have to keep in mind some of these teams don't have the same amount of matches played. OCB and Lansing are both at 20 matches played. All of their teams are at 17. So for Lansing, they're currently third, but at the same time, all other clubs around them at the moment have a greater chance of opportunity, I guess you could put it, as we head towards the end of the season. And of course, Lansing will be rooting for losses in some cases of some of the opponents around them in the table. I'm sure both these clubs will be hoping for a Lansing result today so they can get into that playoff hunt as the table stands. Smart on back here to Almsberg as Madison has controlled things early on here on the road. Last time these two teams met at this venue, it was 1-1, with Toronto scoring the first goal in the 45th minute. Madison was able to equalize late in the second half. That was Danny Tenorio, not in the 18 today. Good look at Griffin Dorsey. More of a midfielder to start the season, but now working back to that right back spot as we've gone deeper into 2019. Former Indiana player and a 6th pick overall by Toronto FC in the 2019 MLS Super Draft. Chapman. Morgan stepping up against Paulo Jr. Puts it out wide now to Faria. Puts the cross in, deflected by Manley. It's a corner kick coming for the home side as Toronto FC2 looking to build ahead here in the 23rd. Toronto able to find 7 shots on target in the loss to Richmond last week, but of course not able to find the equalizer late on. They gave up a penalty that led to a Josh Hughes goal on a rebound. Petrasso puts it in there, diving attempt at a header, not sure if they got contact. As Serbo sends it, deflected, still alive via Chapman. Aquinola. Loses it, now Banks, Leonard, and Madison slowly getting out of the situation here. This press still coming from Toronto, as we'll send it the other way. Toronto 26 goals allowed, third overall in goals allowed in League One, and that's third most, I should say. And that's been their issue at home, many goals allowed. Ball ahead, here's Nunez. Smart on the run, the through ball. Gets it, but offsides, the flag is up. That'll be now the fourth time so far in this match, and we're 25 minutes in. Madison 11 times offsides last time these two teams met, as it looks like Filion will take this one. Fans follow Toronto FC 2, Forward Madison, and the rest of USL League One all season long on ESPN+, home to the USL, MLS, UFC, US Open Cup, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN Plus and watch League One live every week. Sign up today at ESPNplus.com. Pressure from Madison here as Toronto tries to get out of there. One more matchup in League One coming tonight, and then 4 more on Saturday. Plenty of action to catch on ESPN Plus. We'll talk about all those matchups coming up at the half. Serbal losing it there. He'll have to retreat for it. Faria. Zavaleta stepping up. He'll work it to the right wing. Nunez putting the pressure on. Toronto still, they can't really find any penetration into that final third. Trying to build ahead here, but doesn't seem like they're finding the chemistry early on. So far, 2 shots apiece for either side. Only shot on target by Madison on that white chance in the right side of the box that was saved by Filion. Morgan chips it right flank. Petrasso under it, so is Diaz, and finally flicked on back to St. Clair, who'll heave it down the left flank. Looks like Toronto trying to get a bit of possession going here. It is pretty even overall so far in the stats at about 50 apiece. Chapman loses it in the traffic. Stepping up is Tobin. Smart. Paulo Jr. a good run right flank. Smart will try to find him, and indeed he does find the former Penn FC player. Right flank. Towards the end line. Crosses it back in, but luckily for Toronto, only a red kit in the area. Here's Banks. Banks cutting back the shot. Diving is Filion, but luckily for him, it swerves wide. As we'll take another look at this opportunity for Banks, really testing the Toronto keeper. Good power on this one, but just wide of that far post for Banks. J.C. Banks, the Milwaukee native in Wisconsin. Spending 4 years at the University of Wisconsin, Green Bay. Experienced player for sure. 4 goals this season in his now 15 starts. Really a solid member of that attacking midfield line as the ball works down the left flank to Faria. Cross in, headed away by Almsberg. Settled down by Frazier. Shot knocked off of Leonard. And it's going to be a throw-in on the far side for Toronto FC 2. There's Griffin Dorsey once again. 3 points today for TFC 2. And they would claim a playoff spot themselves, as that would move them to 26 points, 1 above Chattanooga before the match tonight against Lansing for the Red Wolves. And for Madison at 22 points currently, 3 points will put them in a tie with Chattanooga for now, as Red Wolves enter tonight. Wide right, Petrasso puts it in there, cleared away. A volley in the end. I believe it was Almsberg there that got it. Diaz back over to Smart. A great play by the center back. And Loon Loney, let's take a look at it. Petrasso, power on this one at the end line, puts it in there. And indeed, it was Almsberg that got a touch to it. Nunez, look for maybe a tricky move. Take it down from behind by Frazier, as it will be a free kick nearly at midfield for Madison. Pretty clear foul here as both teams were getting their players caught up. Another look at this one as Nunez got the upper hand here, a little bit of a step and pulled down from behind by Frazier, maybe clipping that back heel. Quick talking to for the Toronto native. 9 starts with Toronto FC in MLS this season. Tobin flicks it down the left flank. Here's Diaz. Just it down to Smart. Diaz opening things up. Flicked away, and Toronto back on the attack. Here's Petrasso. Leonard again almost winning the ball, causing trouble for Toronto in that midfield. Aguinola sending it back to Chapman. Here's Frazier. Morgan stepping up as well. Romeo. Zavaleta surveying. He thought about chipping it over the top, but didn't in the end. Serbo. Things opening up on the right wing. Through ball down the right side. Petrasso, but sliding in there is Diaz, forcing the corner kick for Toronto. That'll be their second of the match so far. Toronto getting their set-piece opportunities. They have 9 set-piece goals this season, so certainly hoping these will help them out by working those wings, getting the ball out of play. Petrasso over it. 2 assists this season for the Toronto native. 3-time Team of the Week member here in USL League One. Ball sent in. Headed on, but wide in the end. It was Zavaleta getting a touch to it. A good look, but with the pressure putting it wide. Another look at this one, as Petrasso whips it in there, and Leonard, good coverage again. Maria back to Frazier, and Toronto on the attack. Chapman, Zavaleta, and they'll work the right flank with Dorsey. Faria working against Manley. Now Morgan on back to Romeo. He spent time recently on loan in the Danish First Division. Morgan flicks it on back. Faria still can't penetrate the final block of this Madison defense. Morgan stepping up. Over to Faria. They may have found an opening here. Faria, the strike off of Almsberg. Aguinola trying to find Frazier, but it's back to Nunez. We'll get a little bit of space with that touch, and they'll send it on through the back. Almsberg, again, a second big stop there to keep a shot away for Toronto FC2. Good through ball. Aguinola trying to get around Almsberg, flicked awkwardly, but Manley's there to knock it to the right side of the box. Heat check maybe there from deep, just trying to take an opportunity, but well out of play. St. Clair will have a goal kick. Excellent through ball, opening things up on the right flank. Luckily for Madison, so far, Manley and Almsburg have been fantastic there at the back line in those clutch situations. St. Clair takes it in. Again, Madison 2-5-2 on the road. They're 6-7-4 overall this season. Currently sitting 8th in the League One table. As the ball is won back by Zavaleta there. There's Morgan.
Keep working, Jay. Keep working. Keep working.
Frazier. Banks. Now Almsburg back the other way. Knocked on by Nunez. Smart racing after it, and Zavaleta will give him the room to take that in. Not much for him to look at. Chooses not to cross that ball as the White Kits rush down the field. 35th minute of action here in Toronto on ESPN+. 0-0 between Madison and TFC2. Paulo Jr. trying the right flank. Looking for more of the latest in USL League One news and content? Follow at USL League One on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for exclusive access and updates currently going on at USLLeague1.com. And vote on Goal of the Week, Save of the Week, along with checking out those power rankings. They're always updated every Monday at USLLeague1.com. We'll take a look at them ourselves at halftime. There is a new #1 this week, and kind of shocking considering how dominant North Texas has been so far this season. Tormenta just 4 points behind North Texas at this point. And Tormenta showing us from this past week they're not willing to just sit by and let things play out with that loan addition, Shinya Kadono from Loudoun United. Frazier ahead, Akinola takes it in, he'll work it wide, Faria the strike, but the only one standing there in the middle is St. Clair. He'll easily take that in. As we take another look at this one, the Brampton native with the strike just by the outstretched foot of Manley. St. Clair happily takes that in. Ball out of play near side. It's a Toronto throw and won by Romeo.
Back inside, Oliver.
Down the right flank. Here comes Toronto again through Petrasso, but Tobin's there to clear it away. Diaz takes it in, trying to get it back to Banks, but Dorsey did a good job of guarding the ball off. Smart. Nunez here in the 38th. Back to Smart. I'll work it out wide left. Here's Diaz working his way up the side. He's a left back, but he certainly likes to get up the field. Diaz again against Dorsey. Dorsey will have the last laugh though, sends it out of play with the deflection on the cross. It's a throw-in just before that corner flag. I'm sure Madison will act like it's a corner. It's a quick throw-in right at the end line. Smart back over to Diaz. He'll cross it into the box. Filion is there though, dives up into the air and behind for that grab. Here comes Toronto trying to pounce on the opportunity with multiple Flamingos up the field. Faria gave it off to Chapman. He'll get it right back. Frazier out wide. Morgan the overlapping run here. Serbal. Serbal cutting top of the box over to Faria. Morgan. Flicks it in. Wide open opportunity, but Serbal putting it wide of that near post. And he knew it immediately. Wanted more out of that one. Another look here at the opportunity for Toronto, getting more and more chances now as this combo play develops. Leonard almost getting there in time for the block, but ball skirting away. Toronto up to 6 shots now all of a sudden. Madison at 3 with 1 on target. Breaking free, Chapman, back heel, serve ball, but stopped just in time by Leonard. Back the other way, Paulo Jr. finding some room. That back line for Toronto has stayed compact to this point as Dorsey will flick this up into the air and Smart will let this go out of play. 40th minute, even battle overall. Remember, the first goal didn't come in the last matchup until the 45th minute. Madison's defense has held on pretty well so far. That's been their issue this season. They are at 21 goals allowed, which is one of the better numbers here in USL League One, but they've been unable to find the clean sheets, and that's been the difference in their record this season. Diaz sends it centrally, but take it back by the opposite number of Frazier. Madison, shot coming, Nunez, but right into the arms of Filion. A shot on target, but when it's right directly in the middle of the goal, not much you can do with it as a striker. Can't really expect it to find the back of the net. 4th shot of the day by Madison, their 2nd on target. As Chapman takes it in. Toronto's offense growing a bit more confident as we move deeper into this match. Toronto, the only team in League One without a game this season that ended 0-0. Certainly a lot of offense in all of their matches this season. Morgan puts it in there, deflected out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for Toronto as Manley once again a good defensive stop. Faria. Chapman. Combo play working. Falls through Dorsey, but Diaz the header. Petrasso. Let's take it down by Smart. He keeps his run alive though. Up to Morgan. Puts it in. St. Clair off his line. He'll grab it easily. Throw it on down the left flank. Smart, some open room to run. That's the way he likes it. The former Indy 11 player. On the run, Paulo Jr., Filion off his line, and it's a goal for Madison. A misplay by Filion trying to get the stop, but a piece of class by Paulo Jr., and it's 1-0 to Madison. For the Brazilian forward, his 3rd of the season, connecting with Smart. Great look from Don Smart, as he'll have his 4th assist of the season, and Madison up here on the road at Toronto. Madison has looked good on the transition today so far, and here in the 43rd, they strike. Toronto back to the drawing board, now in danger of their 2nd consecutive loss here at home, which would really be a shocker considering how dominant they were so far this season here at BMO Training Ground. St. Clair will take this in, and Madison has to be happy with this scoreline as we're just a few minutes from halftime. Flock back Cooper's Tavern, certainly celebrating that one. As Zavaleta has to keep this away from Smart, back over to Filion. Morgan takes it in. But certainly this season, Toronto down plenty of times overall, but able to come back for results. 0-4-3 when they concede first in matches, but 3 draws, fighting back See if they can do it today or maybe find their first come-from-behind win. Madison on the other side, a perfect 4-0-1 when they score first this season. Ball sent in, headed down by Diaz. It's out of play. Corner kick for Toronto, just like that here in the 44th as they try to respond just before halftime. This will be their third corner overall.
1 minute remaining. 1 minute. No time being added. I'm just saying it's 1 minute left.
Petrasso back over it. Frazier there, the header. Good look by it. That's smart. Volleying this away as Leonard helped him out inside the box. Filione way off his line, and he skies this. He has to race back to his goal. Again, playing off his line, smart. Playing the ball ahead towards Nunez, but Dorsey enough speed to get there first. A sigh of relief for this TFC2 defense. They seem antsy here after giving up that goal a few minutes ago. Frazier down the right flank now with the help of Zavaleta. Take it back by Almsberg. As that will be halftime. No stoppage time here today, and after watching the first 45, probably doesn't need to be any anyway, as Paolo Jr. and Madison up here 1-0 on the road at BMO Training Grounds. And again, Toronto FC2, they have to go back to the drawing board here at the half. Took them a bit to get going in this game on the offensive end to find that combo play, and that's when they gave up the goal to Madison. So we'll see if there's any tactic changes here at halftime. But a brilliant bench, deep bench for Toronto in this game, and we'll see how they use their 3 subs coming up in the second half. Toronto overall has been a second half team, but Madison up for now, 1-0 to the Flamingos here as we hit halftime on ESPN+. Welcome back into halftime here from Toronto as we continue here our opening match of Week 19 in USL League One. Coming up, though, down the road for Toronto, funny enough, Toronto has not seen Greenville yet this season, and the two teams will face each other 3 times in the next 7 matches for Toronto, including the Triumph making the trip up to Toronto twice in the next 3 matches. So should be some fun battles between arguably the best defense in League One against a Toronto side that certainly can score in their home confines, as we've seen all season and talked about today on the broadcast. Some fun matchups as well against playoff contenders currently, North Texas, Chattanooga, as we enter, September coming up in League One as the playoffs draw ever near as we continue this season. On the other side, looking at the away team in today's matchup between the two squads, Madison, they'll be meeting up again with FC Tucson. This will start a great stretch and really filled with opportunities coming down the line for Madison, trying to get a playoff spot in the end of things. They'll have 5 of their next 6 after today at home in the friendly confines of Breese Stevens Field. And we'll take a look at a couple of those matchups right now. And as I mentioned, it starts with FC Tucson on Saturday, 7 p.m. local time there in Madison. And along with some other great opportunities, Richmond, a team that has struggled this season but has come on of late, especially with this upset victory over Toronto. But a team that certainly Madison can maybe control out there, try to get some points from, especially at home. And there it is, Greenville again, seeing Madison twice in the coming weeks. Speaking of Breese Stevens Field, an incredible feat once again for the Flock and all those in attendance supporting Madison the last few weeks and all season. Over 4,500 in attendance for their match against Orlando City B this past weekend. A 1-0 win, as we mentioned, for Madison. And a great feat for that squad and community, as it is a league record. And they keep setting records there. And really what has been the pedestal for impacting the community here in USL League One. So certainly continue it there, Madison fans and those watching at home. Coming up as we continue halftime from Toronto, we'll take a look behind the scenes with the Richmond Kickers and their history and a new era in League One.
Now get some time, Sam Warner, the beauty. From distance, on the way and in! Goal, Las Vegas Lights! And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding? Ned will go for goal! Oh my goodness!
Gents, hey, keep moving forward here. I feel like we're close, but it's all about the process. Make sure you're doing the little things right.
It's part of the community. I think it's not a mistake that you drive anywhere in the city and you'll see the Red Kickers K. I was certainly honored to play for the club and understand it's just a part of the city.
We're the longest continuously run professional soccer team in the country, which is pretty cool. We have Charleston Battery beat by one day. We played on a Friday night. In '93, they played on a Saturday. We take great pride in that.
There's a really good structure in place, and there has been a really good structure in place for a long time now, even from when I was back here as a youth player. The coaching staff, the culture, the way things are done at the Kickers is at the highest level. Everyone's committed, everyone's 100% in.
We have a really strong locker room and everybody really wants to do well for the club, and they believe in me and believe in the club and respect the history that we have as a club. So it's been a lot of fun so far, just kind of getting this group together.
Welcome back here into Toronto. News and notes from around USL League One. We start with Chattanooga. More praise for Chattanooga after they were able to get a 1-1 draw against FC Tucson last week. The two other home undefeateds, North Texas and Toronto, as we mentioned today, going down. So last pack standing at this point at David Stanton Field. Tyler Pollock is your player of the week in League One. Had 2 assists in Greenville's quote-unquote upset over North Texas SC on the road last Friday night. Great feat for the Triumph as they move up further into the table. Looking at the full team of the week, player of the week honors, as I mentioned, Tyler Pollock just now, and J.C. Banks, the only player in front of us today getting honors on that board with plenty of green jerseys, along with the Tormenta blue up there. As we take a look at goals leaders now, from around League One. This pack closing just a bit. Still Ronaldo Demos at the top despite his injury the last few weeks, but you can see the many faces with 7 goals this season. Perusa up there, of course. Helping them out are the assist leaders so far this season. You won't see Griffin Dorsey on here, but he is sitting at 4, so right there, putting pressure on Ziguro, Antley, and Arturo Rodriguez, of course. As we look at the scoreboard from last week in League One action, many of these results we mentioned previously today in our broadcast, but some fun ones. Check out the highlights from Tormenta Lansing if you haven't already. Incredible PK save in stoppage time by Pablo Hara to preserve that result for the second place team in League One. Power rankings for the league, the biggest jump coming from Greenville with their road victory over North Texas, as North Texas has been supplanted by Chattanooga, first time in quite a while this season. They're not in the top spot as Chattanooga continues that unbeaten run. That unbeaten run, of course, will be tested this evening against Lansing, coming up 7 p.m. Eastern time start from Cooley Law School Stadium, as Lansing will look to put an end to that in a 3v4 battle in the table. And, of course, 4 more matchups coming up on Saturday right here on ESPN+. Coming up next, after our quick break, we'll take a look at first half highlights and stats right here from Toronto. Welcome back here into Toronto as we get set for the second half between TFC2 and Forward Madison FC. Paolo Jr. and the Flamingos getting the head start in this match, 1-0 just before the break. And now we'll take a look at our first half highlights, including that goal here from BMO Training Ground, as Toronto FC2 now in danger of maybe their second consecutive loss here in League One, and especially at home. They had some good chances, though, coming from Petrasso working that right wing. That's really where they found the openings, but some great stops from the group in the back, the defense getting it done. Eric Leonard, Almsberg, Tobin, Manley especially, as well, as they've been able to shut down that near side flank in the first half. Manley got going on the offensive end along with Diaz as well, helping out White here, but a good save by Filione, and that was kind of a barometer for where the Flamingos were. Great on the transition early on in this match. Banks here, an excellent strike as well 5 shots overall in that first half, 4 for Madison and 3 shots on target. Toronto, they've been getting shots, 8 of them to be exact, but just 1 on target to this point, as they've gotten some good stops, and St. Clair's controlled the line fairly well. And of course, when you have defenders like Almsberg making plays like that, you're in for a good day on the defensive end. We'll see if they can continue to do that as we enter the second half. St. Clair really got things going here the other way for Smart and Paolo Jr., as Smart able to slow up and really survey the field and find a well-timed run past Morgan for Paolo Jr., and it helped him settle the ball in the back of the net with Filione off his line. And for Paolo Jr., his 3rd of the season, and for Smart, his 4th assist here in 2019. A look at the halftime stats here from Toronto. And as you can see, I was talking about this, shots on target in favor of Madison, probably the better of the chances overall in this match, despite not seeing all the possession. Early on, offsides once again between these two teams, the story of the match, as Toronto FC2 still has not been called for offsides this season against forward Madison. This is their 3rd matchup overall. And the importance of this match, pretty clear in the table overall here today in front of us, and as we move into the rest of the weekend with Madison, if they can hold on to this 1-0 lead and get a win today on the standings, then they would be able to find their way into the playoff discussion fully, with a 25-point even mark with Chattanooga and tied for 4th. For Toronto, if they're able to come back and get the 3 points, then they, of course, can hop over Chattanooga. Chattanooga and Lansing playing tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN+. So the Red Bulls would have their say in this overall discussion depending on the result today. Of course, if Toronto's able to fight back and get a draw, then both these teams would still be out of the playoff picture for now, with the top 4 teams in USL League One making the inaugural playoffs here for this league. 1-0 forward Madison at the break, though. Paolo Jr., as you saw with that strike into the back of the net, back out there looking to do what they did in that first half. And as I mentioned, looking at those first half highlights, really, TFC2, they've been able to break free solely on the right flank. Petrasso, Dorsey, they've been running free, and that's mostly because if you look at the tactics of forward Madison, they like to launch Diaz up the field, and that allows an opening for these offensive players of Toronto on the break, especially to go the other way and find those openings. But on the other side, for the Flamingos, you can make the same argument. Don Smart, Paolo Jr., those wingers out there, they've been finding those openings in the back, especially when they're dealing with a TFC2 backline that's not the typical backline back there. Zavaleta, Morgan getting the starts today for TFC2 in place of Bunk Anderson and Mohammed, who have been 2 of the better defenders overall in League One this season, but they're on the bench today offering support for their squad. We will see our first sub of the match here, and it is who I was just mentioning, actually both players I was just talking about, as they'll make their way onto the field. And Tariq Mohammed, for those familiar with League One, they know this is a player that can really get up the field, help on the offensive end as well as the defensive end. Bunk Anderson on as well, the center back. He'll be out there along with Romeo, I would expect, as we move into this second half. But pretty clear the message there for Toronto FC2, and Michael Rabaska not happy with the back line, or just looking for some minutes for some of the other players in the organization, as now we're back to that more typical back line for TFC2 of Dorsey, Bunk Anderson, Romeo, and Mohammed. Mohammed certainly will be looking for some redemption today after giving up that PK opportunity to Richmond. They weren't able to score on the actual PK, but on the rebound, Hughes put it in last week for the game-winning goal. Madison on the ball as we're back underway here from Toronto, Ontario. Thank you for joining us here on ESPN+. I'm Chris Lukovic, bringing you the action here from BMO Training Ground as Mohammed gets his first touch to the ball today, and he has to shove it out of the corner away from the pressure from Paolo Jr. Back the other way, intercepted. Nunez on the run, finding himself free, trying to cut it back, but only Romeo's there. He thought Smart was a bit closer to him. And now we're seeing a bit more chemistry here from Toronto, trying to work out of the situation. That press continuing from Madison, trying to stretch the field. There's Carter Manley, the right back for Madison, on loan from Minnesota United. As these now, you'll see on your screen the substitutions we're talking about, as Morgan and Zavaleta will come off the field. You're just joining us, a few tweaks to that starting 11 for Toronto FC2 due to the MLS All-Star break. Getting some time for some players from around the organization. Leonard knocks it down the banks. But you look at those two subs as well. I talked about them being good defensive additions, but the offensive side is really important to remember, as Mohamed, a player like Diaz that likes to launch up the flank and really add himself into the attack, while also Bunk Anderson, watch out for these set pieces. He really knows how to score at the end of the day, kind of like a Kyle Venter we see over at FC Tucson, who scored last week. Ball sent in, dangerous one. Filion lets it on by as Mohamed has to clear it. Back to Banks outside the box. He'll flick it ahead. Frazier's there, Chapman, and now on the run. Here comes TFC2. Through ball down the right flank. Tobin after it. The captain stealing it back over to St. Clair as Petrasso was on the run but just could not get there in time. Quick, energetic start to the second half for both clubs. Nunez, right flank. Here's Carter Manley. Through ball, but offsides. Fifth time today for forward Madison, as it is White. Bit of a step there on the TFC back line. Toronto FC2 entering this match with a 4-1-3 record at home, 6-6-5 overall here in League One. Both these teams with identical road records here in 2019, 2-5-2. Ginola working that left flank. Ball sent in on the cross, but Diaz is right there. He'll try to let it go out of play. It finally does. Took a while for that ball to turn, right for the former Liga MX player, as it'll go out of play. There's St. Clair getting his fourth start of the season, third straight here for forward Madison. Eighth pick by Minnesota United in the 2019 draft. Petrasso settling it near side. Gives it off to Chapman. A good move there by Frazier. Doesn't have much in front of him though, but gets it by Leonard. Now on the left flank. Mohamed stepping up. Chapman stolen away by Nunez. Good touch by him. And back all the way to Almsberg, who had a pretty good first half. I remember 2 times that he had blocked shots. I guess you could say volleying the ball away on a defender save at the line. So send it ahead. White wrapped up by Romeo. He gets through with possession anyway. Back to Smart. Smart working it right side. Here's Manley. Manley through ball. Paulo Jr. gets it by the initial body of Bunk Anderson, but no one else there to help out on the back end of that box. Chapman takes it in, and it's back to TFC2. Dorsey stepping up, right back in today's match for TFC2. Works it wide to Petrasso. Dorsey, 4 assists this season, leading TFC2. Taken down, no foul though, as it's a clean tackle by Leonard. And it's back to Manley. Elkridge, Maryland native, getting it back here. He'll cycle it around that back line. Making his 11th start of the season. As Tobin, captain, will work it on back to St. Clair. Madison 4-0-1 this season when they score first. Toronto FC2 not seeing a come-from-behind win. They're known for the come-from-behind draws, I guess you could say it, with 3 of them this season. Smart Through ball ahead. White on the run, right side of the box. Tries to put it back across for Smart, but just too many bodies there in the way as Dorsey clears it just enough over to Muhammad. Now Chapman. Dorsey, the Indiana product. His 15th start, playing it over to Romeo, making his 4th. Toronto really has had to take the ball down the wings. Avaye, a reminder, out due to yellow card accumulation. 1-game suspension for him as Petrasso takes it down the right flank, but right into the open arms of St. Clair as he went to his knees. But Avaye has been one of those players on the field that I guess you don't see a lot from in the stat category, but he's quiet and he gets the job done in the middle of the field, and that's exactly what you want, those defensive stops. And Coach Rabaska has seen that from him all season. So the first match this season that he's not a starter out there for Toronto FC2. It's been Frazier more in that role that we see from Avaye this season. Leonard. Banks plays it down the right flank to Manley. Taken down by Muhammad. Manley up to the goal scorer, Paulo Jr. Now Banks. Faria working against Almsberg. Manley there, brings him down with the contact. A free kick set piece here for Toronto FC2. Another look here as Manley pretty clearly missed the ball here. Taking down Faria on his left leg in the process. Making it out of there without a card. But a set piece opportunity for Toronto, and this is when they can get the bodies forward. Romeo and Bunk Anderson, their center backs, both with goals this season. Bunk Anderson with 5. Faria and Petrasso over the ball. 9 goals from set pieces this season for TFC2. Can they make it 10? Ball sent in, headed away by Tobin, and again, that Madison back line getting it done here in the 54th. Bunk Anderson shocked by that call, as it will be back to Madison, as they'll say a deflection occurred as Tobin cleared the ball. Diaz will take it. Petrasso. Romeo, and they'll cycle it here as Toronto seeing some more possession. No shots yet for either side in this second half. Seeing a bit more possession for TFC2 as St. Clair takes it in. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. Banks, Smart, and back with Madison as Diaz takes it in. Back here by Nunez into the path of Dorsey. Now Chapman through the legs of Leonard. Tried to send a through ball ahead. Aguinola got to it somehow past Tobin, but then Diaz helps out the center back over to St. Clair, who will just knock this well out of the park. Or not, took a backspin there, stayed in play. Looked like it was headed out, but now a corner kick for TFC2. Another look here. St. Clair didn't get enough, but nutmeg here by Chapman, as Petrasso will be on it. Petrasso 2 assists this season. his 13th start for TFC2. Ball sent in. Headed on. Smart after it. The chance. Deflected away by Banks. Madison wanting the handball, and indeed play will pause. Once again, a Madison player blocking a shot and keeping TFC2 off the board. St. Clair will stand over the ball after that handball call. As it falls for Bunk Anderson. Former Clemson player moving it down the left flank. Manley. Right back the other way. As Paulo Jr. with a strong run down this right flank. Met by Muhammad as he retreated back quickly. Ball sent into the box. Smart brings it down. Well, this is coming back as the offsides flag is up once again on Madison. That'll be number 6. The second time in the second half. Really crazy how much Toronto has been able to use offsides to their advantage just in these 3 matchups this season. I believe they're at over 21 offsides calls as this ball floats in easily to St. Clair against forward Madison. Most of those, of course, occurring in the previous matchup between these two teams in Toronto. Nunez. Little flick over to Manley. 23rd pick in the 2018 Super Draft. That's the only one standing there. Take the ball in is Filion. Dorsey. Cycles it back to Bunk Anderson. Toronto trying to avoid their second straight home loss here after losing 2-1 to Richmond last week. Muhammad pressure from Paulo Jr. but gets it back over to Filion. Move it up to Dorsey. Tried to give an option, instead they go much deeper as Diaz has to sky this out of play to keep it away from Petrasso, who's been dangerous against this Madison defense today. Petrasso, throw in, gets it right back against Diaz. Stolen back now with Leonard up to Smart. Junior. Smart. Banks. Almsberg down the right flank, and both teams just can't find that possession attack into the opposing final third at this point. Neither team getting off a shot so far in the second half. Aguinola still can't get that hold-up play going for this offense as he struggled against Tobin and Almsberg here today. Paulo Jr. working against Muhammad, who's fighting back, working against Paulo Jr. He'll stay alive with the ball. The strike, back of the net. TFC really wanting the call there as Muhammad took a tumble. But still the play raged on as Paulo Jr. finding a second in today's match, his brace, putting Madison up on the road. In the 61st minute, Domingo's striking again. A great run, and Muhammad still trying to get back against Paulo Jr. and Filion not able to stop that one as it's powered through on a sharp angle. Looked up for the whistle, didn't come, and he took care of the opportunity. So now Toronto FC2 in deep trouble once again at home. And forward Madison again with a win today would be in a tie for 4th for the final playoff spot with the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Almsberg taking down Muhammad on the collision, a free kick for the home side, and Toronto just like that looking to get back in this game. Muhammad, after going down on that Paulo Jr. goal, getting a brief win back for his side as he put his body on the line in that challenge. Frazier standing over the ball with Petrasso. Two-man wall for Madison. Frazier sends it in there. Low one deflected up by Diaz. Dangerous here as St. Clair trying to punch the ball away. He'll get the benefit of the foul call. With the tensions building inside the box. Bunk Anderson and St. Clair finding some contact there after the whistle was blown. Things cool down quickly as we'll take a look at this one. Diaz deflecting that up in the air on the volley and putting his keeper in a more dangerous situation here, as it did stay out of the frame of goal anyway, luckily for Madison, but a foul by there, Bunk Anderson. That's just a talking to for Romeo. Goal kick for St. Clair and forward Madison. Headed on by Leonard. Nunez grabbed by Romeo, and it's a free kick as they'll have to reset this back at midfield. 64th minute, 2-0 Madison on the brace by Paulo Jr. And 4 goals now this season to match his 4 assists. Matches how many times he scored in his full season, all 18 appearances with Penn FC in the USL Championship. Manley through the traffic, skips there. Dorsey trying to save it, and a third goes in for forward Madison. Again, going down that right flank for the 3rd time today. They find a goal, and this time Manley getting the touch. And forward Madison now taking it to TFC2 on the road. Manley, Paulo Jr. finding the combo on that right flank. And a brief little touch it looked like by Romeo. Going right past Filion. Another look here. And it is through the legs of Romeo, and Dorsey just can't get there in time, missing it by just millimeters. As the Flamingos now, the Flock certainly celebrating at Cooper's Tavern back in Madison. As we're in the 66th minute, 3-0 forward Madison here on the road. And now TFC2 in danger. Another loss this season. Be the 7th overall and looking for a comeback here. And at this point, just looking to find the first in the back of the net, get some confidence here in the second half. They look good with those 2 subs on as we started the second half, but it's been Madison that's the story down that right flank. All 3 goals coming from the right wingers, as Manley, the right back, and Paulo Jr., the right winger, getting it done. Ball flicked in, but no one making a run there as St. Clair will come up and take it in. But also at this point, Madison looking for their second straight clean sheet, and defense isn't something they've seen a ton of success in this season, as clean sheets have been hard to come by. They just had their second against Orlando City B last week. But for St. Clair, helping out that effort last week at home, it would be his second, of course, this season if they're able to hold on today. But this TFC2 offense has been strong this season, and they'll look to find an answer. Chapman after it, but Diaz gets there first over to Leonard. Smart. Down the left flank, here's Diaz. Unable to get to it, out of play, goal kick coming. And for Toronto, here comes their lead goal scorer as Perusa looks to help out this deficit on for Akinola. Perusa at 7 goals, as you saw at halftime. He is tied for second in the Golden Boot race, but coming off the bench for the second straight match, looking to make an impact here in the 67th. His 2 assists as well this season. Bunk Anderson trades passes with Romeo. Forward Madison, if they're able to hold on to this win, what a result that would be, especially considering they're moving into a stretch of 5 home games in their next 6 matches overall. That would be quite the confidence to head back to Breese Stevens Field with and look to get some results. Through ball, Perusa there, St. Clair can't stop it. Off the bench, Perusa gets TFC2 on the board. And here in the 68th, some life for the home side. His 8th of the season, now sole possession of second in the Golden Boot race. Another look here, breaking down the Madison back line. That's what they needed from their striker at the top. And getting just enough air on that one over the outstretched left arm of Dane St. Clair.
Connor, get him going. Connor, get him going.
3-1 Madison, and it's down to a 2-goal deficit just like that. Certainly plenty of time in this game, and the last time Toronto was down 2 goals at home against Lansing Ignite, they were able to come back and draw 3-3. We'll see if it's destined in the stars to happen again here today. Bement coming on for Oliver White. Bement, the native of Waterloo, Illinois, former Loyola Chicago player in college. Headed on by Bunk Anderson back to Filion. And some pep in the step of TFC2 now in the 69th. Perusa works it out wide to Muhammad. Romeo. Almost stolen by Nunez. Tough situation for the center back. There's clearly some miscommunication with the right back Dorsey. Ahead, stopped by Leonard. Flicked on by Banks. Leonard gets it back. Madison some breathing room. Ahead, Paulo Jr. Faria almost stealing it back. Enough on it. Back to Manley. Here's Banks. Banks surveying the field, sending it long. Don Smart on the run. Left side of the box, looking to strike through. He does, off the crossbar. Bement after it. Put on a platter for Don Smart, and he can't convert there. Paulo Jr. back the other way, going for the hat trick, but stopped in his tracks by Muhammad. TFC2 the other way. And now the woodwork on their side, it appears, at least for now, as they look to get further back into this match. Manley striking forward. Chapman. Dorsey. Petrasso. Chapman again. Leonard will knock this away just to get some breathing room as it goes out of play. Throw in for TFC 2 will take another look at this chance by Don Smart. And he really sized this up well from the left side of the box, but just on the underneath of that crossbar and it ricocheted out. Got beautiful bend on that one, but couldn't find his 7th of the season. Romeo takes it in, working right flank. Petrasso again, finding some room on that right side. Chapman, through ball, but stopped there in its tracks by Diaz. Perusa would have had a wide open opportunity. Chapman, right side again. Here is Dorsey. The cross into the box, but over everyone, including the goal, out of play as St. Clair watches it fly. Who's up? Who's down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL League One Power Rankings, only on USLLeague1.com. As we mentioned at the halftime break, a lot of movement in those power rankings this week, as it's Greenville moving up 5 spots. Toronto trying to move up in this match and get back in it. Through ball there, right past the foot of Perusa into the arms of St. Clair. They'll take it in. A 2-goal lead for Madison, but it's looking a bit dangerous at this point. Off of Dorsey, but losing it to Smart. Tackle from behind. Pretty clear foul, and it'll be a card along with it for Dorsey, and that a big one as well, as he was on a yellow card accumulation warning, so he will be suspended for the next match. Oh, look here, very late tackle in behind Smart. And for Dorsey, of course, with that, found that his 5th, yellow card of the season. I will give him that accumulation threshold. TFC 2 will be without their right back and a key offensive piece when they host Greenville. Taken in by Filione. Bunk Anderson up to Frazier here in the 74th. It's all Toronto right now, other than some Madison transition attack. Madison's just had 43% of possession today, but it's all they've needed with the transition ability of the wingers. Ball crossed in, volleyed away by Tobin. Knocked on to Smart. Some room to run, 2v2. Bement would have been offside, so they play it ahead to Paulo Jr. Bunk Anderson a flick on to Tariq Mohammed, who will play it down the left flank. Handled very well by the TFC2 back line. Chapman stepping up centrally, working against Leonard. Through ball, on is Petrasso. Flicks it on in towards the goal, and it tiptoes around that far post. Did not get enough towards the frame of the goal on that one. Beautiful through ball. Petrasso again on that right flank, finding his way through. Just can't get it to trickle in on that far side. Oh, what an opportunity. They keep on coming now for TFC2 as St. Clair has the goal kick. Reminder, one more matchup coming up tonight on ESPN Plus featuring USL League One, as it'll be Chattanooga on the road against Lansing. Chattanooga #1 in the most recent USL League One power rankings, but Lansing also relatively hot recently, staying up there despite a few more matches played this season. And both teams looking to stay up in the playoff contention as this cross goes in right into the arms of St. Clair. But certainly if Madison gets the win today, they'll have an interesting predicament. Who maybe the Flock will want to cheer on in that match coming up later tonight, as the rivals Lansing Ignite will be hosting Chattanooga. But a Chattanooga loss would mean that Madison and Chattanooga stay even for that 4th place spot. Bunk Anderson. Muhammad up to Serbo, he'll get it right back. 4 more matches as well on Saturday in USL League One. As Leonard gets it back, we'll play it on to Smart. Forward Madison will be hosting FC Tucson. B-Mint around the outside, fighting with Romeo. The big body of the center back winning it, and it's over to Chapman. If you're just joining us, a brace by Paulo Jr., another one by Carter Manley, and then a response by Perusa right after he was subbed on. Dorsey through the traffic, finding an opening. Out wide, Faria. The cross over everyone, though. Petrasso back end going after Diaz, the header. Is a corner kick coming for TFC2. It'll be their 5th of the match, 2nd of the second half. And we're hearing potentially a substitution coming, as it will be Toyama getting set to come on. Short corner kick. They waited on that substitution. Nunez over to Petrasso, goes down. Placed, continues on here as Smart will play it down the right flank. Muhammad on the run against Paulo Jr. It's been a fun battle between those two today. And the ball is brought back. And it looks like this will go in favor of Madison. That sub will come on now, as it will be Toyama. Coming on for Don Smart, it looks like. Looking to fortify this 3-1 lead for the Flamingos. As Toyama, a dynamic winger. 1 assist in his now 17 appearances this season. Banks, good move there to keep it away from Perusa, who's hungry out there for the ball. 11 shots for TFC2, 2 on target. 8 for Madison, 4 on target, as Muhammad can't clear that far enough. Paulo Jr. trying to take advantage of that open spot. Cuts it back. Toyama, bit too far forward in the box, and he loses it back to TFC2. Tracking back as Petrasso advances on the field. And it'll be Chapman that takes it in. Chapman can't get it by Toyama. B-Mint. Leonard. No clean sheet today for Madison, but would be a huge 3 points on the road. It would be their 3rd road victory if they're able to hold on these final 11 minutes plus stoppage. B-Mint lays it off, at least attempts to lay it off, but it's ahead to Petrasso. Cuts it back, Perusa stepping up, the strike! Diving there is St. Clair, but it sails out of play. Another look at this one as Petrasso and Perusa looking to hook up for the 2nd of the day for TFC2, but couldn't find it. Beautiful strike, but just too high over the frame. Petrasso and Perusa trying to get Toronto back in this game. Would have been a brace there for Perusa on the day. 1 goal now away from tying Renato Demos, the top spot in the Golden Boot race. Diaz, Toyama. Grab from behind, and a foul called against Dorsey. He's on a yellow card already. And there it is, his 2nd of the day, stopping the run of Toyama from behind, and a red card because of his 2nd yellow for Griffin Dorsey. Huge loss there for TFC2. As in addition, of course, they'll be down a man the final 10 minutes plus stoppage time. Poor move by Dorsey. As it's 3-1 Madison here in the 81st, and TFC2 down a man the rest of the match. Another look. pretty clearly there, holding on to Toyama's kick. Ahead, and Romeo will clear it out of play. And for Petrasso, that red card especially hurts the way he's playing today and getting up the field and attacking from the right flank against this Madison defense. He can't get up as much the way the formation is currently. We'll see if TFC2 makes a change or two to the way they're playing out there. Down 2 goals, the Mountain getting a bit taller here for Toronto to climb and get back towards a result in this match. TFC2, that's their 3rd red card of the season. Banks streaking forward, looking to strike, he'll poke it through, and on the fingertips of Filion, he'll get the stop. Frazier back the other way here in the 83rd. Faria working against Manley. Serbal. Peruza back to Frazier. Muhammad back to the central midfielder. Banks. Paulo Jr. Tobin takes it in. The CFC2 side won't play this weekend. Next match on until August 9th against Greenville. Team they'll see 3 times in the next 7 matches. That includes 2 times in the next 3 games. Down the field, open is Toyama, but he is offsides. That's number 7 today against this Madison offense. Here is the final substitution for forward Madison. It's Louis Bennett coming on for Nunez. Bennett, another player, along with Oliver White, that came on loan from Memphis 901 FC. Former Marquette player. Of course, Shorewood, Wisconsin native, making his 3rd appearance. Peruza coming all the way back to connect with the defense. Romeo playing it left side. Serbal, Muhammad. Time dwindling, of course, here for TFC2, plus they're down a man. Just joining us, Dorsey, in the last few minutes, getting his 2nd yellow and having to leave the field. Bunk Anderson works it down the left flank. Bunk Anderson. Romeo. Frazier stepping up. Chapman surveys the left side. He'll find Faria. Sends a cross in there, but cleared away by Almsberg. Good showing by this back line of Madison today. Bunk Anderson down the left flank. Ball sent in deflection. Chapman was there. Almsberg fakes the clearance and lets it go out of play. St. Clair will have the goal kick. Madison now looks like on their way towards 3 points, as Toronto down a man now, just can't find the right attack going towards the final third. Muhammad takes it in. It is a free kick for Toronto FC2. Bennett, Toyama. Toyama out to Bennett. Towards the box, puts a cross in there, dangerous one, flicked on and in! Beeman makes it 4 for the Flamingos here in the 87th. And Madison out and running towards 3 points on the road today. Another look at this one. Beautiful touch by Beeman as Bennett got it from Toyama. And right in the back of the net, not much Filione could do on that one. It's 4-1 to Madison, making a statement today on the road. TFC2 on their way towards their 2nd consecutive home loss and what has been a fortress at BMO Training Ground. Maybe Madison learning some lessons on playing at this venue in the last matchup, that 1-1 draw earlier this season. Yellow card as well during the celebration as Frazier getting the yellow card. It will be a throw in here for TFC2. '88th minute. TFC2 now into that over a week break, just looking to hold on to something here, get some confidence building. Frustrating day as that's chipped in, one hop into the arms of St. Clair. This Madison team clicking here on the offensive end today, getting up to now 26 goals on the season. Their team plays at home, as I mentioned, 5 times in the next 6. Has the opportunity in front of them maybe to make some noise here in the playoff discussion. They'll play a team also in that discussion currently in FC Tucson coming up on Saturday. FC Tucson, a team that looked really good 2 weeks ago at Greenville. Had to fight to a 1-1 draw on the road at Chattanooga last week after getting up early. Knocked down by Romeo. Back to Bunk Anderson, and he'll sweep it on back to Filione. For Toronto, maybe just a rough patch this season at home. And Toyama stealing it right back from Chapman. Free kick for Diaz. Ball flicked over the top. Here's Toyama working against Petrasso. Trying to just burn some time here, and that'll help him out as Petrasso deflects the ball out of play. Corner kick for Madison. As we approach stoppage time here at BMO Training Ground. Bennett standing over the corner flag. Now the most goals that TFC2 has allowed in a match here in their League One era. 3 minutes of stoppage time officially here in Toronto. Maybe a last chance to get another on the board for TFC2 headed into the next few days off. As Madison on the wing just took it to the TFC2 defense here today, as Muhammad just couldn't trap down Paolo Jr. here today in the second half. Toyama, Bennett looking for the ball, he'll find it. As Romeo fights through him for it, and will take the throw in. Perusa fighting through, but so is Tobin. Out wide here to Bennett.
Give it back to him. Give it back to him. Turn Louis forward.
So it was the week of the road team last week in League One. The only team that got a home victory was Madison, and this week, at least in our first match, same story is beginning, and this time it is Madison on the road getting the victory. Who knows, could be another crazy week of League One action. Last Wednesday it was Tormenta. They got the 4-1 victory over Orlando City B, and this week it's Madison on the first game of the week on the Wednesday. Of course, we have a second matchup tonight. We'll see if Chattanooga can keep the tail going against Lansing. Diaz, Beeman, as they cycle the ball, looking to burn some time on the clock. Perusa, the lone tally after he came off the bench for TFC2. A foul is called on Chapman. And the rough day for TFC2 close to coming to an end, as it will be 3 points for forward Madison. Again, they will move into a tie for fourth with Chattanooga here in the League One table. St. Clair clearing it down the left flank. Toronto FC2 still winless when they concede first. Forward Madison still undefeated when scoring first this season. It's going to be their 5th win in that category. Frazier takes it in, works it around. Advantage played. Muhammad. And there is the final whistle. Forward Madison going on the road, putting 4 in the back of the net. And they're headed back to Madison, Wisconsin with 3 points in their pocket. Huge victory here in the playoff discussion in League One. And TFC2 down again at home. They lose their second straight at BMO Training Ground. A tough one to take for TFC2, but forward Madison 3 points, and they'll celebrate tonight. We'll be back with our full match stats and highlights coming up next right here on ESPN+. Welcome back here into Toronto, where Forward Madison comes out on top. 4-1 the victory for the Flamingos here on the road, as they'll head back now with 25 points on the season, tied for 4th with Chattanooga Red Wolves in the League One table. With that, let's check out our full match highlights here from Toronto, Ontario, and it's a whole lot of goals and mostly in favor of Forward Madison. It started out here with the scoring. Don Smart, the service from St. Clair, and he surveyed this field pretty well on this great run by Paulo Jr. in behind Morgan, and he flicked it over Filion as he tried to dive out in the nick of time and save it, but just not there in enough time. And Paulo Jr. got off to a great start with that one, as he'll make his case for player of the week with today's action. Getting in behind here, fighting off Muhammad, keeping the play alive, and striking this one true, finding the brace, and a 2-0 lead for Forward Madison, as TFC2 still could not respond in the second half. And he would celebrate there with Oliver White. Then it would continue, Manley and Paulo Jr. connecting here, as Jr. would get the assist. Manley on the run, flicked through Romeo and into the back of the net. Another look here, as you can see it went through his legs and in. Frazier looking for the response as Perusa came off the bench, striking early on, and that's what he does so well. Finds those lanes and puts one in, and now he's in sole possession of second in the Golden Boot race. But Madison wouldn't be done yet, as Bennett in there for B. Mint, and he there with a beautiful touch, nailing it into the back of the net. Finishing 4-1 Madison. Both teams with over 10 shots, but here's the difference. 6 shots on target for Madison, despite the 7 offsides. They really the top team on the field today, getting it done on the offensive end and taking the transition attack to TFC2, as TFC2 will stay at 23 points on the table, and they'll hope that some of these other teams in the middle of the pack in League One don't move ahead of them before their next match coming up against Greenville next week. Madison, though, meanwhile, they'll be keeping a sharp eye, I'm sure the flock will, on that result coming tonight between Lansing and Chattanooga. I'd like to thank our entire crew here, and thank you for watching, tuning in with us for this ESPN Plus match between Forward Madison and Toronto FC2. It finishes 4-1 Madison. I'm Chris McCoviak. Have a great night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.